always try and ask and seek for help. That is something
Yeah.
that we always kind of miss out. We feel that no, I can do it. I am perfect. The way I'm doing it is right. We need to have an open mind. There are things that
Yeah.
we go wrong with, but it is very important to stay connected with the community, to meet like-minded people.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Reverr Talks. Today we have CA Megha Bansali with us, and we will just start by knowing her background and like where did she begin all this. And over to you, Megha. We all want to know that where it all started and how was your journey of preparing for CA and everything. So yeah,
Uh, Thank you guys for having me here today. So I'm a qualified chartered accountant and a qualified ACCA, which is a global chartered accountancy plus Indian.
yeah.
So I have both the qualification. Coming to my work experience, or before, if I would say, my CA days were equivalent to a struggle that a startup has. So I completely understand how much of a struggle a startup goes through,
Yeah.
because I have seen that when I was preparing for my exam. But nevertheless, exam has an end. I think startup journey doesn't have an end to the struggle that they have. So yes,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I have worked at KPMG, which is a typical consultancy firm. Then I have
Yeah.
also worked at FreeCharge, which is, which was probably a very good startup back then. I was
Hmm.
working here in 2016, so it was running really well back then. It was all over the place before Paytm came and just took over the entire market. So, but yes, we can discuss some of the flaws or some things that didn't go right with FreeCharge. That is something
Yeah.
uh, I think we could
Yeah,
discuss.
definitely. I really want to know the backstory story of Recharge not doing up to the mark. And if I'm not wrong, it was acquired by Snapdeal.
Yes, so I
And
think, yeah, go
yeah,
on.
and yeah, obviously, a company started by Kunal Shah, who's a well-known, entrepreneur. And after that, Snapdeal acquired it. And what was the like? I just want to know the reason why it failed and why it was acquired by Snapdeal, and Snapdeal also eventually didn't do well. So I just want to know the background story behind it.
So it was running up and well. It was really doing well, and
Yeah.
until when Kunal Shah was taking care of it, it was doing well. Then what happened was
Mm.
when Snapdeal took over, they had a lot of cash crunch, and
Okay.
their terms of strategy was not very right. So they didn't think in terms of
Mm.
ATM, where they. So earlier it was only a recharge platform. It was not a wallet
Mm.
platform like how
Yeah.
Paytm, and they failed to kind of meet with the demands of the people. And
Mm-hmm.
when the demonetization happened,
Mm.
unfortunately it was under Snapdeal, and Snapdeal didn't have funds to market
Yeah.
it that well, or to run it that well, because
Yeah.
all these startups are on a cash burn model,
Mm.
right?
Definitely.
That's how they were sustaining back then. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, the only thing was FreeCharge didn't have funds. It was under Snapdeal. Even Snapdeal was under a crunch, and
Mm.
it all just failed. And also, I think when such a big company is taking over, when they took over FreeCharge rather,
Yeah.
Snapdeal itself had a lot of loophole in their own system, their own management. They were not
Mm.
so big enough to kind of manage the entire operations of Recharge. And they kind of,
Mm.
so getting into the market, trying to grow too soon is also a problem.
Yeah.
So the time has to be right. So I think that was completely something that went wrong.
So yeah, we were discussing about the failure of recharge. And definitely, if you are the first mover, you basically do an experiment, and after that only you get to know that is it sustainable, or what are the mistakes that we have committed, and how to you know, deal with it and how to improve it, which Paytm obviously did. Paytm is also making a lot of mistakes right now, but definitely there are many other players in the market who are going to learn from that and obviously improve the business model and everything.
Yeah, so now we have Google Pay all over. So
Yeah,
yes, that's how it is.
definitely. Okay, so like as you mentioned that your journey of becoming a CA was no less than starting a new startup. Like it was very hustle. There was so much hustle and the struggle. And yeah, can you just take us through that what kind of struggle was that there, and how was the journey, and how was it very difficult, and how did you cope with it, and how did you overcome that?
Okay. So see, in terms of CA, I would say it is you need to be very determined that yes, this is something that I need to do. I think it's the
Mm.
same with startup. You need to believe in your product. You need to believe in your service. Uh, you have to be like, yes, this is something that is going to bring about a change into people, or this is something that people are going to love. But that doesn't mean that you just blindly keep pushing it when you don't see any positive result.
Yeah.
It has to be taken, customer feedback has to be taken care of, but
Mm.
you do not lose confidence in your product or service. You make modifications, that's fine, but you have to keep going on. That's the only thing I would say is the ultimate bottom line that I have learned from my preparation is keep going on, do not give up. Hard work and determination are two things which I think needs to be there everywhere, either your studies or your business, even in terms of a job. It has to be there everywhere, and that can just work wonders for everyone. So
Mm.
yes, that.
Definitely, that's a very good advice for people and the students who are pursuing CA. And okay, so like as I know about you that you have worked with many startups and you have given them many advices, and the whole financial system in a startup world is not very organized, because obviously if a person is pursuing a startup, a business, they don't know everything about finance, and it is very important because you are going to compete with large competitors and the global market. So which companies did you work with, and your experience, how was your experience with them, and like which company is your, like, the experience you got, which experience was the best for you?
Okay. So
Yeah.
I've been working with a lot of startups, small
Okay.
scale startups, a little medium scale startups is
Yeah.
something that I've been working with. To give a little background about the kind of industries they are into, uh,
Mm.
since right now I'm based out of Jaipur, I have a lot of textile based clients who are doing a lot of different things. There's one client who picks up waste and creates a lot of things out of it, and
Okay.
she's created some so it was pre-COVID actually, when she created a jacket out of different patchwork, which
Oh.
went really crazy, and she had a lot of export orders for it. So it was
Mm.
just that unique product that clicked for her.
That's
So
great.
that was something nice. Then there are a lot of tech-based startups that I'm working with. There are 2, 3 startups that are on educational lines. One
Mm.
startup, like I personally really like the idea. Like we have a lot of portals where we can get jobs. LinkedIn is such portal. You have Naukri.com, but
Yeah.
the hard reality is you get a job only through reference, or the typically the kind of interviews that you have to go through for every company is different. So there was
Yeah.
this platform which was developed wherein you can talk to anyone working in that company. So
Okay.
if I want to get into Apple, I can try and
Mm.
find someone who's working in Apple on that portal, and I can talk
Okay.
to them. I can say that this is the profile I'm looking at. If you could refer me, or what are the tips that you could give me in terms of if I want to get a job in that company. So that was something very interesting, and so she had crazy amount of revenue. She was quite profitable, but still she was very
Hmm.
aggressive that no, I need to raise funds. I want to become big. So I really liked her vision. She was very passionate about it, and we were very successful in raising funds for her.
Hmm.
So I personally got to learn a lot from her because she was very persistent. That we kept insisting that why do you want to dilute your equity? You're already profitable.
Yeah.
But she had good vision, good growth plans for her company, so that did wonders for her. So
Hmm.
that was a good one of a very good client, something that I could learn from. So yes, we also get to learn a lot from the startups. Then
Okay.
currently there is one client I'm working with who is into male infertility. So we see IVF
Okay.
all around the place, but we've never spoken about male infertility. So
Yeah.
that is something which is very interesting. And so again, this client came to me to raise funds, and this is also a profitable business, and they want to raise funds. So we're trying to kind of brainstorm on how we can get him, funds growth without
Hmm.
diluting equity. So
Yeah.
this is a little challenging assignment where we are not looking at diluting equity,
Hmm.
but we're looking
Yeah.
at growth. So we
Hmm.
do work around such clients also. And so we are trying to look at a lot of IVF centers where we can tie up with, so
Yeah.
that he does not have to look for funding and even the operation is taken care of. So we help the startups in doing such strategic planning also, where it's I don't know why there's a myth that only if you get funds can you grow.
Hmm.
That is something which is a myth has to be broken down, that it
Yeah.
is not funding that always can lead to growth. You can look at different avenues, like you can look at some strategic alliances, having some partner on board. You can
Hmm.
there are multiple options depending on your business operation, your personality. So we kind of sit down with each startup, understand their entire business in and out.
Hmm.
That's how we kind of help them. So when I said that I help them with their day-to-day operations, this is how we kind of try to add value into their day-to-day operations also. So
Yeah.
yes, that's
Okay, so what I have seen is obviously people want funds and they think that they if they want to grow they need to get the funds. But what I feel is you can grow without the funds, but if you want the exponential growth, if you want to grow very rapidly and if you want to like grow 10x the 10x speed and everything, then you need funds. Then you need to raise a lot of money so that you can achieve that thing, but that it is not the only way, like
yes,
because obviously if you're raising fund that comes with a cost. Yeah, so you are diluting your equity or else you are raising on debt, and which is obviously you have to repay that and you have to bear the cost of it. So yeah, definitely fundraising is an option only when it is required and you think that you can bear the cost. Not for everyone. Like for example, what I feel is initially you should just try bootstrapping, and in that case only, when you think that okay, I am bootstrapped right now, I can afford to raise funds, then only you should go for that. If I'm not wrong.
yes, I think that's very right, and that's the mindset people should have, that it's not always about raising funds.
Definitely. Okay, so like as you talked about startups, you worked with many startups and you like help them financially and everything. Okay, so what are the some key factors that many startups miss about finance? Like obviously they don't have the whole knowledge about finance. What are those common things that almost every startup is lacking and they should work on it in terms of finance?
Yes, so there are a couple of things that, as a startup, people kind of fail to begin with.
Yeah.
First, first most important thing before you start is to have a business plan financially,
Mm,
which is
mm,
very, very important. By business
yeah.
plan, I'm not saying that, draw a fancy one. You can just draw basically how much expense I'm going to incur every month.
Yeah.
assuming zero sales, still I have to pay my rent, I need to pay my salaries, I need to pay electricity, or I need to purchase raw material. So this is something you need to know from day one, that how much is going to be my outflow with
Hmm.
zero inflow. Okay, assuming that you have zero sales,
Your
how,
pre-revenue. Yeah.
yes, so how much outflow you're going to have. And I would suggest that you do this for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Assume, even if you have a revenue stage, but you assume that I'm going to have, even if I have zero sales, then what is the cost I will still have to incur and still have to bear.
Yeah.
Do it for your first 6 months, and this is the amount of money you need to have in your pocket before you start any business.
Hmm.
Because only when you have this money, you have the confidence of surviving for the first 6 months. That's where
Hmm.
most of us fail, because we
Yeah.
lose confidence when we
Hmm.
see just outflow, and there is we reach a zero
Nothing.
balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So that is, I think, one basic rule which I think it should just be a thumb rule that everyone follows before they start a business, is to have
Hmm.
6 months cash burn in hand before you
Yeah.
start your business. So you could
Hmm.
be it with your personal savings, be it from debt, or however you want to finance it. You need to have that in hand.
Yeah, what I feel is not only for 6 months, like if you are thinking of doing sales after 6 months, then also you should at least have the funds of almost for a year. Because
Correct.
obviously, if you think that I'm not going to spend too much, or this much amount of funds is more than enough, but it's not like that. When you actually do business, then you find out that these are also the expenses, I never thought of it, and you lag there, and that makes you bankrupt, and like you run out of funds, and that's the worst case for a business, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that is, I think, most important thing. And
Yeah.
second important thing is, I see a lot of people burning a lot of cash initially. I
Yeah.
think I understand that you need to get aggressive in a business, but
Mm.
always taking baby steps help, because
Mm.
the amount of mistakes you do initially are going to be really high. So the cost
Yeah.
that trying to put in the business should be low at the initial stage. Like, for a
Mm.
simple example, do not go straight away, rent a place, set up an office.
Mm.
We have this wonderful concept of co-working space. Why not make
Mm.
use of
Yeah.
it, right? So
Mm.
this is one major cost. Like, rent is a very big cost if you're in any of the metros. Then it's a very major cost. So you could probably save on the rent. Even in terms of
Mm.
salaries, people can cut costs by finding interns. You very easily get
Yeah.
interns today.
Hmm.
Everything. You will get interns for finance. If any one of you want intern for finance, you can always contact me. So you get interns for finance, you get interns for marketing, you get interns for business development. Interns are very, very easily available these days.
Mm.
So you
Yeah.
can find an intern instead of finding an employee, because it is going to save you cost.
Yeah, obviously, like there are demerits of it as well, because obviously an intern will not be that much trained. You have to train that person, you have to teach that person and everything. So obviously, it is not the best option, but it is an approach if you are bootstrapped, if you are running out of funds, and if you cannot afford it, then definitely interns is the best option.
Yes, so that, and I also see a lot of people, giving away a lot of work. Like, honestly, if you're in a bootstrap stage, I think you could do little bit of social marketing by yourself. It is very simple. If you just spend 4 to 5 hours watching some YouTube videos, you can manage all of it by yourself. So these are some things I feel that, wherever possible you should save cost, so that it gives you confidence when you see a lot of money with you. But if you see a lot of money going out, then you kind of tend to lose confidence. So it's just a suggestion: wherever possible, please try and save cost. Start small. Do not
Yeah.
go aggressive from day one. And that was also one of the biggest mistake FreeCharge did. So when I was in FreeCharge, we got a big chunk of funding, which they
Okay.
did not plan well, and they just spent everything on IPL, which was, I think,
Oh,
really stupid, because after the entire IPL season was over, we did get a lot of spike in the transaction, but it just, went down after we stopped marketing. So you have to
yeah.
plan your funds also well, that how to manage with low cost is something that
Hmm.
you all need to learn.
Definitely. And like talking about free charge, I really want to know that exactly at what position you were working, and like were you directly working with the core team, and like can you just tell us your journey in free charge?
Yeah, so when I had joined, they had just launched their wallet.
Okay.
So I was looking at everything related to wallet from the finance perspective, in terms of one was the RBI compliance, in terms of if
Yeah.
transactions are stuck when someone's loading the money, how do you take care of it? How to automate the entire process?
Hmm.
If transactions are stuck when someone is transferring the money from wallet to a recharge, so that was something we were looking at. And then we used to monitor how many transactions are happening every day, what kind of campaigns they are running.
Yeah.
Marketing team used to take care of it, but we used to always, give them those reports that this campaign did well, this didn't do well. This is
Hmm.
the kind of spike we are seeing in terms of transaction. So more or
Yeah.
less, that was it. And I was reporting directly to the director there. So I got
Okay.
a lot of exposure, and startup culture is actually very good, because
Hmm.
sky's the limit. You can do
Hmm.
anything you want to. So yes, it was a lovely experience, but it's very unfortunate that the company is not doing so well.
Okay, so like let me just ask it directly. I really want to know that did you directly work with Kunal Shah? Because I am very big fan of his, and I
Okay.
really want to know that how is he with his employees, and yeah, I just want to know anything about his personality as much as I can.
It was unfortunate because he left FreeCharge and Snapdeal took over, and that's when I joined. So I never
Oh,
got to meet him as such, but
okay.
yeah, I have heard that his personality was really dynamic, and
Yeah.
he was, in the game. Like, he knew everything
Hmm.
in and out, even in terms of how finance should work, how marketing should work.
Yeah.
That's how you need to be as an entrepreneur. You need to be in the game of each of your department.
Yeah, and like now after Free Charge, he is he's the founder and CEO of Cred,
Right? Yes.
and we all know that how big is that company, and how it's doing. And
Yes.
obviously you must be having some views about it, and anything you want to share, like do you know anyone who's working there or anything like that?
So basically, I think Cred is a very good concept. Again,
Yeah.
it is little similar to what FreeCharge started with the coupon
Hmm.
system. That's how
Yeah.
Cred is also started. But personally, I have a little resistance to using Cred, because it takes away your credit card information, which I feel is a little sensitive information. So
Yeah.
personally, I am a little not, what would I say, not in favor of using Cred. But
Hmm.
yes, it's again a personal choice, because yes, we do get a lot of perks by paying our credit card bill through credit.
Yeah, definitely. But what I feel is these days we are just circulating our data to almost like many companies, not only like Cred, be it Google, be it any other company who is basically like, yeah, there are many companies who has our data. And if but the thing is, if a company is at such a big level, and if they're having our information, obviously they can use that data for their convenience and for their growth. But I guess it is also somewhere secured, because if they are not secured, then they have to pay the cost of it, because yeah, they cannot just do anything with that data, because as we all know that Facebook also did some, you know not accepting, it was not accepted what he did with our data. And that's why its brand reputation was very much harmed. So do you think that like having information with Cred is going to similar things, and will it impact the company as well?
See, to be very honest, it's a little personal choice if
Yeah,
you're okay to share your data or no. But
yeah,
uh, so, but data is the next big game, and
yeah,
that's
definitely.
what people are playing with. Data
Mm.
is something that I know. Nothing today is personal. All your data can be easily available, very
Yeah,
easily accessible. But yes, data is the next big game. So that's what
yeah,
I would
definitely.
like to say.
Yeah, definitely. The data is the next big game, and you should circulate it, or you should provide your data very wisely. That's what I
Correct.
feel.
Yes.
Okay, like moving to the next question, as you mentioned that cash flow in a startup is very important. And obviously, if you are not having funds, you won't be able to survive. If a startup has grown up to a limit, like it has raised funds and it is now working, it is cash rich. Okay. So after that, how much a cash flow is important in a startup? Because obviously there are things like even if you have done sales, but the cash is not in your hands right now, it is going to come after some time, and after the deal has been executed and everything. So cash flow, continuously having the cash flow, how much is that important for a company, for be it any company, not only for a startup or a big company as well?
See, cash is the ultimate, the ultimate source of your income, your business. If you're
Yeah.
not able to generate a positive cash, it is not making sense to do the business.
Hmm.
So currently, I mean, all the startups look at just revenue, look at number of active users, and they get good
Hmm.
valuation based on that. They're able to raise funds. But I
Yeah.
think somewhere we kind of forget that basics of every business is to have money. The
Yeah.
day you are positive, investors will run behind you. You don't have to
Hmm.
run behind investors is something that I think all of us need to understand. The entire purpose of doing a business is to have money in our hand, and if I'm
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
able to have money in my hand, then it's a big you know you have to figure out what you're doing wrong. And a lot of times, we also get stuck in terms of we are doing sales, but we do not have people paying us back. So there's a very good option of invoice financing, which I think a lot of people are not aware of. So it
Yeah.
works very well in terms of any export that you've done. So if I'm doing any export and the payment has to come after 3 months or 2 months, so against that export order, I can raise funds from bank. So I do not have a cash crunch with me in business. So there are a lot of options available like this on a normal
Hmm.
business working level, which can help you maintain your cash flow into the business. But ultimately, you have to look at being cash positive. Otherwise, there is no point of doing the entire business.
Definitely. Having cash in your hand is very important. If even if to your investors you want to raise funds, if you're just showing them projections that these are the assets that we are having, these are the sales, these are revenue, but we are not having the cash, it is yet to come, or it is not what do we say, like it is not liquid cash is not available, like liquidity is very low, that impacts a lot. And that brings me to the next question, that what I have seen in general, that when we are raising funds, and if you're doing it specifically for debt, and the investors, and even if you are doing it from bank, a CIBIL score plays a very important role. Okay.
Yes.
So if a company or the founders of that company is not having a good CIBIL score, then how much does it impact to raise funds, and what are the solutions for it?
See, CIBIL score is basically how your past performance is
Yeah.
in terms of credit payout. Uh, Also, like, simply if you have a credit card, how many times have you defaulted? Have you paid it in time? So
Yeah.
these are basic factors taken into consideration to figure out your CIBIL score. Again, CIBIL score is majorly affecting your rate of interest.
Hmm.
So if I have to get a business loan, it starts somewhere from a 9%. It could go up to, 12 or a 13%. So the
Yeah.
reason we have these different interest percentages because of your CIBIL score. So if I'm
Yeah.
having a bad score, then I get a higher rate of interest loan. If I'm having a good,
Mm.
then I get a lower rate of interest. Now,
Definitely.
uh, someone is having a bad or I would say not such a good CIBIL score, then the solution to that would be there could be 2 3 solutions to it. If I am a
Mm.
individual and I'm having a business and I'm trying to raise funds in my individual name, not having a
Mm.
good CIBIL score, then we try to raise funds in the company's name, so
Okay.
that because the company is treated separately, an individual is treated separately. So that could be an option. The second option is could be to get a loan against a collateral. Again, it's a
Okay.
little high risk, but if you want at
Mm.
a lower interest, then this is a good option, wherein you take it through raising against a mortgage. Third option could be then to go to an NBFC.
Okay.
NBFC typically give you interest at a lower rate. So people with a little bad civil score tend to go to NBFC so that they get a good interest rate. So that's also a very good option for people. But then again, NBFC's funds are limited. It is not like how good you would get in a bank, but it's a good
Yeah.
option that you could consider.
Okay. So is there any way that you can improve your CIBIL score like immediately, or you can make some changes or pay some fees or charges for that so that it can be improved, or like is there any other way to improve your CIBIL score
No, just you have to pay your credits on time.
on time?
The catch is, every bank has a different way of checking CIBIL score. So if
Okay.
one bank is saying that your CIBIL is, say, let's say below 700, you could probably go to another bank and give it a shot, because every
Yeah.
bank has their own way of getting out CIBIL. So that is one shot you could do, like just give.
Definitely. And like we discuss about a lot of things, cash flow and CIBIL score and a lot of things. So and these things impact a lot in terms of valuation.
Yes.
In terms of valuation, these things has a very huge impact. So, what are the key things which are very important for a good valuation, and on which valuation depends the most, according to you?
See, your personal credibility is definitely one thing wherein your CIBIL score comes into place. That is
Yeah,
one aspect of it. Second aspect of your valuation is very important. Is basically getting your finance right. Again, coming back to the basics, you need
yeah,
to have a positive cash flow. You need to show that I am able to generate revenue. So
yeah,
that is something you have to show. It is also very easy for a company which is earning revenue to raise fund, rather
yeah,
than like a pre-seed is always little difficult to raise.
yeah.
So when you have proven yourself, when you have shown some result, it is always easier to kind of raise your
Mm,
equity. Uh,
definitely.
yeah, and the other thing is to be very honest is how you pitch to the investors. You have to be you need to have your skin in the game. You need to be like on your toes, and that's how, if you can just charm around with the investor, then it works wonders. Yes, I know it is a little off, but that's how it works.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so like I think it's the time to take some questions
Sure.
from a
Yeah.
community members. Okay, so like first question is by Satyan. What are the regular compliance an organization requires?
Okay. So see, there are three, four compliances that you need to take care of. First is your income tax. So if you have a turnover of more than 1 crore, then you need to get yourself registered under TDS. So basically, you need to start deducting tax every time you make a payment to your employer, to your contractor. So that is one
Okay.
compliance you need to take care of. Again, under income tax, you need to pay regular taxes. You need to pay tax every quarter based on the revenue
Yeah.
earned so far. So these are your income tax compliance. Then you have your GST compliance. The moment you cross a turnover of 20 lakhs, you need to get yourself GST registered and you need to file a monthly GST return. And if you are
Yeah.
registered as a company, then you have to file with company's Ministry of Corporate Affairs also, which has a different compliance. You need to every annually you need to file 7 to 8 forms with them. So
Hmm.
these are typical compliances that any organization has to take care of. And if you have
Hmm.
more than 10 employees, then you have your PF and ESI also there. So you need to take care of the labor laws. So these are some
Hmm.
compliances.
Definitely. Okay, so like moving on to the next question. Any method to get updates on dates and other charges in law?
So there are a lot of these platforms which are available for CAs and professionals, which you can join, like CA Club India, India Filing. You could get yourself subscribed to their regular updates, so you'd
Yeah.
probably keep getting to know the changes in the dates and the rates or whatever changes are happening in the law.
Okay. So like with that, we are done with the questions. And before ending this and leaving, I just want you to just ask your last question, that what is that one advice you want to give to our community members and to all the people who are going to watch this? Anything you want to say who are budding entrepreneurs or and businessmen? Anything you can add?
Yes, so there is one advice that I have personally is that not all of us are good at everything. Like I am someone who's not good at tech at all, but I am very good at numbers. So the people have their own skill set. So always be ready to ask for help. So we have a lot of communities, like Reverr is one of such community. We have a lot of incubation centers. We have a lot of such programs coming up by government itself, who are giving a lot of subsidies to startups. But always try and ask and seek for help. That is something
Yeah.
that we always kind of miss out. We feel that no, I can do it. I am perfect. The way I'm doing it is right. We need to have an open mind. There are things that
Yeah.
we go wrong with, but it is very important to stay connected with the community, to meet like-minded people, so that it helps you to figure out where you're going wrong and to take little expert advice whenever required. There are a lot of people who charge very nominal, or who are even doing it free of cost. Please
Yeah.
reach out to people who are experts in their own domain, because I think that's how we can work towards a healthy environment or a healthy community. So that's one personal advice I would like to give everyone.
It's a great advice, Mega. And like with that, thank you so much, Mega, for joining with us. It was a pleasure talking to you. And thank you guys, whoever joined in. And yeah, we would be back with another episode soon. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, and I hope you got some insights, and you can get in touch with me if you require any help anytime.